Hey guys, happy Monday! It's time for Mondays with Mel. I hope everyone had a great weekend, and I know a lot of kids are going back to school. My kids have been already been in school for a few weeks now, but I know that a lot of the country is just starting up this week or last week or something. So, for all the parents out there who are, dealing with kids, being in school and being online and being at home and also trying to work from home, I'm with you. Hang in there. It'll all come together. It'll all work out, and everything will be fine. Just take it one day at a time. But that's not what I came online to talk about. So it actually was this morning. I was just like, I don't even really know um, what to say. But then I started realizing a lot of things. So today is the last day of August. And I don't know about you, but August was a really, really tough month for me emotionally. I was dealing, for some reason, this entire month, I was dealing with a lot of emotional issues that I didn't even really know I still had to work through. I've been doing a lot of, healing work and things like that for the last couple of years to, get myself to a healthier place than where I was in 2018. And I really thought that I was in a good place. But then at the beginning of this month, what I realized was I was frustrated with some things that I believed and hoped would have happened in my life by now. 2020, I had big hopes, big dreams, and I had big expectations. And I was like, this is going to happen. This is going to clear up. This is going to start all of these things. And there were a few things that did occur. So, for example, being able to go into coaching full time, major blessing. And I'm now in a place where I genuinely love what I do, and I genuinely love how I spend my days, and I absolutely love, waking up and doing things that don't actually feel like work to me. However, there were other major components of my life that seemed blocked. And no matter what I was doing this month or this year, actually, it just seemed like things were not coming together. And I was just frustrated this month with not seeing those things coming to pass and also not really knowing now when this was going to happen. So that's kind of how things started for me. And as I was going throughout this month, a lot of these emotional issues just started coming up to the surface. And I found myself like this emotional mess for the majority of the month. And I was like, God, what is going on? Why am I, just like this blob of emotions this month? Because I'm normally pretty composed. But this month it was just more like, you know what, let it all out, air out your grievances, address this pain. Apparently, I must have reached some deeper level of pain and trauma that I didn't know was still stored in my body, and it was now just coming up to the surface. So, as this month was rounding out, I was sharing my struggles, my emotional struggles, with a couple of dear friends of mine, and some key conversations began to take place. And it made me aware of a few things that I did not realize I still needed to do, and that it was all connected to why certain things that I had been waiting to happen for my future weren't happening. And one of the things, actually the biggest thing that I realized was that I needed to practice a level of forgiveness that I had never had to exercise before because I'd never gone through certain things and I'd never experienced such deep levels of pain before. And in this awareness moment, um, practicing deep forgiveness, one of the things that my dear friend told me was that it's easier to extend forgiveness to the one that you feel did you wrong. The one that hurt you. It's harder to forgive yourself. And I was thinking, I was like, you know what, every time we talk about forgiveness, we always talk about forgiving the other person because, you know, when you don't forgive the other person, you're the one that's actually drinking the poison. You're the one that's still holding on to the bitterness. You're the one that's actually still toxic. But I don't know, maybe for me, there's not really been a lot of discussion on, or as much discussion on forgiving yourself. So this whole weekend, the way things were set up, I ended up understanding that part of deep forgiveness involves addressing that deeper pain, but also involves forgiving yourself. And when you forgive yourself, you actually acknowledge your part in the pain. And what I realized was that the way that I handled, you know, certain situations in my past was not healthy for me. And it didn't serve me. It actually hurt me even more, in addition to the pain that was caused by somebody else and their actions. And so I actually was contributing to my own suffering because of the way that I handled things. And the other thing that I realized was that in order for me to really walk into my future state, to be the person that I know I'm supposed to be, and to become the fullest expression of myself, I had to let go of the person I had to become in order to survive that time in my life. And I actually had to say goodbye to her. I also had to let go of the fear of becoming her ever again. And the reason why I know I will never have to become her again is that now I understand and love myself enough to know when my boundaries have been violated, and I now have better ways to protect and preserve my peace and my integrity. So the Mel that I had to become in a past, you know, situation or past life, if you will, or a past season, she didn't have the tools or the knowledge or the love for herself to fight the things that were being done to her in a good way that was healthy. And so as a result, she began to get crippled. The other thing that I realized was that I'll never have to be that Mel again, because I now love myself enough to never abandon who I am at my core for the sake of holding on to something that was never meant for me to have, and for the sake of holding on to a Mel that I was never meant to become. So all of this is happening this whole like weekend, whatever. And hi, mother, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. But part of understanding, so one, deep forgiveness involved learning how to forgive myself. Number two, it also involved the realization that I don't have to be afraid of ever becoming that Mel again, because I now have better tools and better understanding of how to preserve and protect my peace. And I'm really glad that my dear friend and sister Tamara P. Field is on here because she is the queen of boundary setting. If y'all need to understand how to set boundaries, I need you to look up Tamara P. Fields, because she is the master of helping you to set boundaries. But understanding that I now know how to preserve and protect my peace in healthy ways that also preserve and protect the other person and their integrity, and also preserve and protect the integrity of the relationship if it's meant to be salvaged. And another reason why I'm glad she's on here is that as a licensed therapist, her ethical motto that she lives and serves by with her clients is first, do no harm. And I've heard her say this many times. You know, we blow each other's phone up like all day long. And so I began to actually think about, you know, I should probably adopt the same philosophy when I work with my coaching clients, but I also need to do that for myself. And I needed to learn what are the ways that I can preserve and protect myself and not do harm to myself in order to, save something else. So the way that this month ended was actually really interesting. I went from feeling frustrated about things being blocked in my future to understanding the connection that unforgiveness had, and the unforgiveness being connected to not being able to be present or be grateful for what I had. And then I understood the level that forgiveness that I was at and what I actually needed to be, and how deep forgiveness involves the forgiveness of yourself. And then this morning, I had my morning devotional. I did my morning devotional. I'm trying to get better at, starting my day with, something to think about, ponder, positively shift my mind and my energy into something that is good. And my devotional this morning was about forgiveness. And let me tell you, sister, the scripture that was used was Luke 7:47. So I read the scripture, but then I was like, let me just go a step further and actually look this whole passage up so I could get better context on why that scripture was used specifically for a forgiveness devotional. Turns out that whole passage was all about the woman with her alabaster box that came when Jesus was at dinner with the Pharisees, and she basically, poured her tears out on his feet, wiped and anointed his feet with the perfume. And it was just like, oh my goodness. The one line that really stood out to me this morning from that whole passage was this: if the forgiveness is minimal, the gratitude is minimal. And we all know how gratitude is related to abundance. So for me to have to understand how deeply I had to actually forgive those in my past that I felt did harm to me, but also realize that I was also doing harm to myself in trying to preserve something that was never meant for me to hold on to, I realized how that was in impacting my ability to be grateful for what I have today, even the little things. And it's not to say that I wasn't grateful for, like having a roof over my head, or having good health, not having had to deal with, the virus in a lot of ways that millions of people have been dealing with. Obviously I'm grateful for those things, but to truly be present and focused and understand that gratefulness is more than just about acknowledging what you have right now, but also knowing gratefulness is like, it's like the security that you live in, to that your abundance actually like settles in. When you are grateful for things that you don't even see yet, or don't even have in your hands yet, or possess yet, or hear or see or touch, when you're grateful for those things, what it does is it's like a magnet, and it like invites that abundance to come, because you've actually created space to hold that abundance. And this morning, while I'm going through this devotional, what I was seeing in my head was like if you picture the earth and you see a plant on top of the earth, on top of the ground, but underneath the ground is the root system. When you uproot all of that pain, when you uproot all of that bitterness, all of that resentment, and you don't even know how deep all of that was until it just comes up, what you've done is you've created space, you've dug that stuff out, and you've created space for your peace and your abundance to actually take possession. And out of that is what grows, and that's how you thrive. So I have to say, I went through a really tough month, but I really believe that I've come and made some major realizations. And so my encouragement for you this week is, If you have something that has been kind of bugging you, rubbing some internal friction in your soul and your spirit, something that's been weighing on your mind, maybe you've been in some, hyper fixated state of a problem that you're trying to solve or whatever, you might need to look at what are the areas that I might need to grow an inch taller in my forgiveness and go an inch deeper in my forgiveness as well. So if there's a way for you to take some time out, just an hour this week, and really sit back and think about how am I actually blocking my future state from happening because of the old me that I've yet to let go and say goodbye to, and the fear of having to become that person again, and letting go of all of that pain and the prospect of what that pain of letting go of holding on to that pain would cause you. I think from a mindset perspective, obviously I'm a mindset coach. From a mindset perspective, if you don't clean out all of that stuff, it actually does impact the way that you make decisions. So if you are a budding business owner, if you are going into a new venture, if you've been holding back from doing something like going to school, writing that book, learning photography, learning a new language, whatever it is, you might need to think, how am I doing this to myself? And are there things from my past that I've not truly let go of that are causing me to think that these new things aren't possible or that I'm not worthy to have the future state I so very much desire? So that is everything I have for this week. I just had these major mind blown moments. Like for the last 72 hours, I could not wait to get online today and do Mondays with Mel. But I hope this has helped somebody and open your eyes to the possibility that there might be some things you need to really work through at a deeper level that you may not have recognized until now. And to just do the work and clear that space out and allow yourself to have space for peace and abundance to actually take possession in your life. All right, guys, that's all I have for this week. I'm gonna go hop on the gram and do the same thing, and then I'm gonna eat my curry chicken that I've got simmering on the stove right now, and I can't tell you how excited I am about that. Love you, love you, love you so much. Drop me a note if you want to talk about this even more. I'm here to obviously help you work through those things, and just wishing you the best. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Thanks. Bye.